Hey guys, this is Super Tycon, and today I'm going to be breaking down a match that I had against Vinard in Venator's Random Character Tournament. This is a tournament where Venator randomly selected the characters we would be using and the maps we would be playing on, so it was quite a lot of fun. Definitely check it out. You can see it here. The reason I'm breaking this down is because there's this myth that has been spreading in the community some where a lot of people think Isabella is very difficult to defeat or even virtually unbeatable at times. And I'm here to try and dispel that myth, and so we'll probably be doing more than one of these videos because I have had some notable successes with other characters against Isabella. I often like to take the Isabella mirror myself in competitive, but it's not because Isabella is objectively stronger. I just like mirror matches in general, and I think if I can feel confident in the mirror match, then it feels more like a tactical chess game, so to speak. But nonetheless, Saber is perfectly viable against Longsword too, and I'm here to try and dispel the myth that Isabella is overpowered, because I strongly disagree with that. And I say that as primarily a Saber main myself. I primarily use Alexander. So here, as you can see, I'm fighting Vinard. Vinard got lucky here. He got Isabella. And there's no doubt Isabella is powerful. That's not what I'm trying to disprove. I'm just disproving the notion she's OP. But anyway, Vinard here has plenty of experience with Isabella, so this was a pretty damning situation because I was stuck with Barabash. Now, Barabash is a solid Saber character. There's really nothing wrong with him, I would say, right now. Aside from maybe the punch glitches people have been talking about, but perhaps that's been resolved. I don't know if it was resolved at the time of this tournament. Besides the point, I am stuck with Barabash here, and yet I did ended up doing quite well, and I surprised myself. And I did it essentially just by following the basic principles of the game. And the key here is you don't want to play the Longswords game. You do not want to fight a slugging match against Isabella. If you do that, you're going to lose, unless you're also using Isabella, in which case, it could go either way. Sarah can get away with it too. Samuel, to some extent, I suppose, can get away with it as well, but not with Barbash. That's not going to work well. So let's just see how I did it here. It ended up being quite easy, actually. So hopefully this will teach people to not be afraid of Isabella so much. I think that's half the reason people lose to her so much in some cases. They have this bad mindset going in, and the mindset really matters. But we have plenty of evidence of other players adapting to the matchup too, and I could totally break those down as well if anyone's interested. But anyway, let's get to the first flag. This is only a 1 round fight, so this is pretty quick, but I might end up drawing it out because I'm not usually that concise, but I'll try to be. Anyway, my goal going in here in opening matches is to get Barabash's timing down because I am not as comfortable with his timing as I am with Alexander. And here I just force a double. Poor timing, I would say, on both of our parts there, but that's sometimes what happens, especially early in a match. But here I'm trying to play very patient with a counter-striking style, and you can see immediately there, Vinard rushes in, and I easily block it because I maintain good positioning, and then I hit his head. So here Vinard just goes for some slow attacks. I thought I could counter, but of course we get another double, but that's fine. Not ideal, but it could be a much worse situation. So here Vinard did a really good job. Actually, he sidesteps me as I try to punish him, and so he gets a point. Vinard goes for a thrust, but I immediately beat it down and cut his head. Similar principle before. I'm not trying to do anything fancy with Barabash. I'm not as familiar with Barabash after all. I'm sticking with basic principles. And here Vinard manages to get a pretty heavy hit in, despite my hit. And so it's 2-2 at this point. And now I'm just sort of testing the waters a little bit. Trying to get Vinard to hopefully come in. And Vinard does these underhows, which could have been dangerous, but I backed away. But as you can see, I'm not afraid of Isabella, right? You don't see me just retreating. I apply passive pressure where needed. And I'm more than happy to get in there and start throwing cuts. And here, perfect snipe to the arm. That's what I was going for. I saw Vinard really likes those upward swings. And so if you see that from Isabella, you should think about punishing with downward cuts to the head and the arm in that case. And those can work really well. And you see Vineyard's a little more cautious now that he's seen me effortlessly counter him. And there again, I see that thrust, and I know even his passive auto guard can block it oftentimes. So you can sort of just beat it down or block it and then hit the head. That's another opportunity to hit the head, even if you take a stab. And here Vineyard rushes in, cut to the body there. And it's the same principle. I just stick with this counter-striking play style. And you can see Vineyard is struggling to make anything happen at all. And he gets more and more hesitant, I think, as the match goes on. Understandably so. He sort of wants me to make the first move. Here, I still provoke him into making the first move. And the upward slash there can also be a really useful tool against those upward swings. One of Barbash's best tools, and here, this is probably like one of the highlights of the match. If we can go back here. Like, my timing was just impeccable here. It was a bit of luck, I will be honest, but I knew his Unterhaus have less reach than my downward cuts. And so what I was able to do there was I was able to just snipe his arm really quickly because Barbash is a fast character. So I hope this helped. In general, patience and counter-striking proved really helpful here against an experienced Isabella, quite frankly. So this could have easily gone the other way. Vineyard is not an easy opponent usually, but as you can see, if you stick with basic principles and don't panic, you can absolutely do a number in Isabella.